What's up, everybody? Welcome. It's Orange Bloods Live. I'm Jeff Ketchum. That is Chad Hastings. We'll be talking Texas football. Steve Sarkisian talked to the media for the last time leading up to, I don't know if you guys have heard this. There's a game in Athens. It's kind of big. It's the last time he talked. Before that, was there anything earth-shattering? We'll get into that. Do us a solid. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel. Just push a bunch of buttons. Comment in the comment section. And if you're watching this live, you know we want you in the Specs chat. Lisa wants you in the Specs chat. We'll get to the Sarkisian press conference, but we're not going to we don't want to do this thing where we just drag out the conversation that is on the thumbnail, that is the title of the video. It's a very shady thing, Chad.
Yeah, don't you clickbait these people. If you're going to clickbait them, you better spring that trap early.
18 minutes in, Cam Coleman, ladies and gentlemen. So I am working on a piece over at orangebloods.com. It's that little QR code up there in the top left-hand corner. You can scan that bad boy for $1, check it all out, see what's up. You can read today's article. And in my Truth and Lies column, I had a question mark from someone who had asked me, he had heard that Texas had already gotten a commitment in the transfer portal. I thought, okay, well, there you go. There's one.
That's good. I like that. I like that. The teams haven't named new coaches. The actual portal's not open. Great rumor.
So, and I'll be honest, this wasn't a week yet where I have pinged my best sources. Sometimes you just gotta let people be,
Okay.
And look, I might ping them before the end of the day is over, but I have made the rounds. I have checked in some places. And I specifically was asking, like, hey, what's the Cam Coleman thing look like? Because it's the kind of thing that is already on Orange Bloods, right? Cam Coleman is in the middle of games at Auburn, and because their coach is gone, it's like every fan base in college football is like, it's like those old Bugs Bunny cartoons where they would see like a person, but it would look like a ham.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
And the hearts come around the eyes and everything. Yeah.
And it's got to be a hell of a thing even to be an Auburn football fan to watch Cam Coleman and just know, like, geez, what the hell is it going to be like when the portal opens up? Why would he not be in the portal?
Right. I'd be scared of that, and maybe Singleton. Singleton's listed as a junior. I guess he could go pro, but like both of those dudes, I'm wondering, do they need a change of scenery?
I mean, they have so much leverage.
Oh my God. They are. I mean, I know they're on the same team, but they've kind of got that Concepcion Craver feel, but maybe even dialed up a little more than what those guys had already done.
Well, it kind of reminds me of when Texas was making the basketball coaching deal and like Holland is committed and he's like, this is my guy, but then he doesn't come anyway. You know what I mean? Like on some level,
right.
These things are tricky. They're tricky, and you have to be careful not to make Auburn will feel pressured to keep those two guys to such an extent that it probably impacts the hiring. It probably impacts there has got to be conversations about, hey, when we get the new guy, he's got to have he's got to have everything he needs to make sure that our best guys don't leave. Mm-hmm. And those guys can literally just be like, I heard a number. What's your number?
Yeah.
8 million, no problem. You know what I mean? The negotiations could be really tricky because they really have Auburn over a barrel here. So the sources I had connected with, one that I specifically quoted, gave very nebulous answers. Mm-hmm. And the gist was, if there's a player on a team where there has already been coaching turnover and the world knows about it, any halfway decent player on those teams has representatives who are flashing the bat signal to every school in the country.
Yeah, this is where I start to think of those coaches that get demonstrative catch and they say, I have not spoken to any other team, but they never tell you that their agent hasn't spoken to every other team.
Well, and look, this is where the value of Brandon Harris really kicks in.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Sark's busy. Like it's such busy work. It's just
stuff going on this week.
It's just talking on the phone, Chad. It's just, hey, it really is painting a picture of what it looks like. Because, when these kids do enter the portal, a lot of them will want to make decisions that get them into school in January. So there's going to be shotgun marriages in about a week's time that you're either ready or you're not ready. And when these kids hit the portal, they know where they're visiting. It is not, and they usually will put like a do not disturb sign on their deal. They got it. Mm-hmm. And if you want to do what James Blanchard at Tech did, which is just send a text message to somebody, anybody who will read it, and say, if you return my phone call, as God is my witness, you will not regret that you took the call. You want to do that? Knock yourself out. But so the message was, the exact quote, which I thought was hilarious, was, we are not uninformed on any of this, on anybody. That if you're wondering, hey, I wonder if Cam Coleman, I wonder if schools around the country have an idea of like how interested he either is or isn't. That is, and I think that's one of the great subplots of what we're watching this weekend. Mm-hmm. This thing's it's like 7 weeks away.
Yeah.
And, the one thing you don't see in the NFL is free agency while the playoffs are still ongoing. It is so.
Yeah. And remember, Catch, the timeline could move slightly depending on when does Auburn hire a new coach.
Right.
5 days after that, that's when the Auburn portal opens for 15 days. And that could be separate. It could lay right on top of the regular portal, but it could also be separate.
It is. All of this is just super tricky because I think one of the things that the sport is telling us is that everybody behind the scenes has decided the best thing that any of us can do is have as much runway as possible. Because they're all doing this early this year. And in the past, we would have said, is that even – it's so centered on the portal, the timing with the roster. All of these things have to line up perfectly. It's really interesting to see so many schools who are like, you know what? We're putting it out there for months that we're going to have the hiring. And I think it's real because I wonder if this is just the way moving forward. If in 10 years from now, right, Sarkisian's gone. He's just doing something else, playing golf, celebrating his mini national championships. If he's gone and like the next guy's here and there's like we have to make a decision on this guy, I wonder if the way is, and maybe John Makovic's the perfect example of this. You got to go back a little ways. Mm-hmm. But they knew by the end of September in 1997, that dude ain't coming back. Tom Herman's another example, though.
Yeah.
They could have. He's a perfect example. They would have just been looking for a reason to end the season, get him out, clear the paint, and then announce to the world, hey, man, Texas job's open. And one way or the other over the course of a couple of months, if someone has an interest and wants a phone call, they'll get the word out. The bat signal will fly. So I think it's just really interesting while we'll talk about Auburn's portal players and like what's available and what's going on behind the scenes and at all of these other schools, Florida included, all these schools have decided this is the best way. When it first happened, I thought, wow, peculiar, right? Like you're going to have it's September. You're doing it now. And now it feels like all the cool kids are doing it.
Yeah. And especially with that safety net of the portal not immediately opening. 2 years ago, it was 30 days immediately, and it was free for all. And that would be wild to do on October the 9th. But now
yes.
But now you can do it on October the 9th because they're giving you that leeway of coach's press conference starts a clock and then it goes. So that I think that new version does help the schools a little bit if they want to do that.
Them to time everything.
Yeah.
They can be ready to hire a guy, but be like, you know what? Our planning said this is the date that the announcement needs to be on. So we're just going to kill time for a couple of days, make it look like,
right.
You know,
and Auburn
float Neuheisel's name. We'll get some rumors going, and then
you mean the kid Neuheisel, right? Or dad, or both? Because they both could be.
Let there be a Chad Hastings rumor out there.
All Neuheisels, right? But here's the other thing. In the pass catch, Auburn could have said to Cam Coleman, hey, take your time, take a breath. And he didn't have to. Now he has to. He has to. I don't care how ready he is to leave Auburn. If he is, he has no option right now.
But what it does allow him to do is really meticulously have his entourage of people, his agents, his parents, his wide receivers coach, like whatever the network is and the hierarchy is, and the food chain's always different. You'd be surprised. Sometimes the wide receiver coach is invaluable.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes it's mom, right? Sometimes it's still mom. And then sometimes it's relationships from the previous recruitment. We've talked about that in the past. There's always a different dynamic. But what a guy like Cam Coleman's able to do, man, by the time we get to the end of this month, he'll either know who his school is, or he'll know like what his actions will be. And it's a huge advantage because usually this thing does feel very shotgun marriaged. But wherever he goes, the early communication, if he even goes anywhere, but like whatever his situation ends up looking like, the seeds have been planted for a while now. And that's just something that I think schools are chalking up to the game. They're like, you know what? It's going to happen anyway. You think whether we fire the coach or not, that he's not going to have an agent talking to Texas or Ohio State or Georgia or whomever? Like, what naive world do we live in where we don't think that's happening? And so what they've said is we're just going to fire our coach. It's going to happen. You know what this does? It eliminates the shroud of week to week playing the will he or won't he, and what the players will know. And we know it's going to happen anyway, so let's stop pretending. And I think you'd have to be naive as to just not believe. And I don't think this is bothering Cam Coleman from week to week at all. Yeah. But like his people are working the phones and like they're getting that situation and what the world looks like, so that when January 1st comes, it's not like, hey, we'd love to know what you think. No, they will know what the market looks like. They will know who the primary people who are most interested look like. And if there's one or two schools or three schools, probably at the most, first visit is everything. They'll know before they take that visit what the situation is. And I think it's imperative to really understand it's all happening right now.
Yeah. All right. I got to follow up on Coleman. Tom, I see the super chat. We will get to that. Brian Jones is coming up at the 30-minute mark as well. Let's take a breath. We'll hear from AV Consultations and we'll keep rolling.
Hi, this is Tom McKay, owner of Audiovisual Consultations, and we'd like to take a moment to thank all of our clients for making the last 37 years both fun and fruitful. If you haven't yet, I'd like to invite you to give us a try for all your home electronics needs. There's no need to leave your home to find great pricing and incomparable service. No traffic, inexperienced sales geeks, or pushy showroom tactics. We come to you. So just relax, hug your kids, and smile. We handle all the work. Just give us a call at 255-8678 or online at avconsultations.com.
All right, Catch. He suggested it. He's going there. He wants to know if you're going there. $10 from Tom G. What's the enchilada plan tomorrow? I will be with other OBs at El Gallo.
I believe that that's happening today.
Okay, so you and Michelle get together, or you and Michelle separately?
I think the plan is I think
working it out.
It's working it out, but I think the plan is at some point this afternoon, I have another thing that I have to do first. So, but yeah, I think the gang will be together. The dynamic duo, we will not fail the people. And we've decided to go to a place that's had multiple recommendations.
That's good.
We're not slumming it and going to a place that's convenient. We're going to go to a place that's been recommended.
Now,
damn it, we care. We're not taking chances.
You have talked about that. We've talked about the fact both of you are extremely picky, but you said you found at least one enchilada that you actually kind of liked. Does Michelle actually kind of like enchiladas, or is she still kind of out on them and she's doing this for the cause?
Oh, she's doing it for the cause.
Doing it for the cause. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
She is.
Hey, Tom, I like the plan though. Going to El Gallo, you mentioned the place. That sounds like a place that I need to go at some point.
I looked at it. I Googled Earth, I mapped it. And it looks like the kind of place that I think serves good Mexican food. So I'm optimistic, Chad. It does not look, you know what it does not look like? Suburban.
Ah, okay. Doesn't look suburban.
Does not look like Kathy and Katie are like having espressos there.
I get what you're saying.
Talking about, the dance at the school on Friday. It looks like people that want to eat good Mexican food go there, and I hear they serve good drinks. So it's like, let's go get buzzed and have great Mexican food, and it's also probably not cooked by anybody named Craig.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Point made. JR, 1999, catch Bugs Bunny analogy. Funny, but I cracked up at Chad's analogy when A&M was going through it. He analogized is a tough word to say. He analogized taking his girlfriend to a bar, being the only girl and all the dudes staring her down. LOL, something of the sort.
Cool.
JR, yeah, kind of the speed dating, I guess, of the portal. But it kind of leads to my question, Catch. I look back at the visits for Cam Coleman. I saw Auburn, of course, LSU, A&M, and Clemson. LSU and Clemson feel very bizarre right now. I don't know that either. I mean, Clemson's not super shaky, but they're also not super strong right now. So in terms of other teams that you think of immediately, would A&M be in the discussion? I have heard the Aggies in terms of Cam Coleman. A couple things have changed since he would have made that visit.
Man, everybody's going to have an interest.
Okay.
And so then I think, you think about a school like Ohio State. Well, they have to take care of their own dude in Jeremiah Smith for one more year. So Ohio State would have an interest, but it might not fit that high stakes one-off season. Some teams are going to be like, that's exactly what we need. Texas Tech will probably be up in there. They literally, by the way, have you seen the quote that Cody Carpentier had today on his NIL Nuggets of the Week? Can I read? Please tell me you haven't heard it. Please tell me I get to read it to you.
I have not heard it. You get to read it.
So there's an article about, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. Are you ready for I think I'm going to hype this up.
I can tell.
And I'm going to tell you in advance, the quote is better than the hype. And I'm telling you right now, it might be my favorite quote of all time. You ready?
This better be usual suspects. Go ahead.
So there's an article in the Washington Post about Mike Elko.
Okay.
And the whole article is like, Mike and his wife, Michelle, are just salt of the earth, kind of middle class, folksy folk.
Mm-hmm.
And, that they're kind of having to adjust to the profile that comes with being the head. It's kind of actually, it's very much like a Sarkisian type thing that you would expect a Texas coach to read, right? It's like, we're hanging out with all of the rich people and we'd rather just barbecue with the neighbors, right? It's kind of surprising that this is the profile of a coach in College Station. I don't know that I've actually read that before. Kind of the folksy people acting like A&M's not folksy enough for them is interesting. That's not on brand. Like at one point, Mike and Michelle in the article are just described as ordinary people, which again, like isn't the whole. I think I've always thought, well, you go to A&M because that's the ordinary people school. Like that's the way they always kind of sold themselves. This article paints kind of a strange picture. But you know what? Maybe at the end of the article, maybe there's a payoff that is like, you know what? Maybe this place is more like Real Housewives of Dallas than we give A&M credit for. At the end of the article, it's talking about the A&M 12th Man Foundation, and the fundraising, and they generated $266.4 million, and they shifted 139 of that into the athletic department. It's talking about like all of the stuff that they have, and how many like things have names etched on them. Bricks and glass and stairwells. Like you can get some shit named after you at A&M. And then it says 2 years ago, Texas A&M fired Elko's predecessor, Jimbo Fisher, the morning after a 41-point win. Fisher had $76.8 million left on his contract, but rich donors were tired of looking at him, so they came up with the cash just to get him out of their sight. All right, are you ready for this?
Sure.
Quote, there's plenty of money, and if we don't have it, we'll get it, says Houston attorney Tony Busby, a longtime booster with a huge learning center named after him. Quote, we've got more money than we've got brains, end quote.
Oh, wow. Wow. I mean, come on. Come on. If that all you got to do is slow clap that one.
It is both unintentionally and intentionally hilarious.
You know what they say, Catch? Self-awareness is sometimes one of the most important qualities you can have. The man knows what he's got. The man knows what he's got.
Because there was like Longhorn fans that read that and they were like, oh, typical Aggie, just bragging about how much money he has. And I was like, I don't know that quote does just that, by the way, just so you know.
I would love a follow-up where you go, okay, Tony, are you speaking maybe about the beginning of Jimbo or the end? And he would go, yeah.
Just again, now that you know the payoff, so let me just read that to you again without this is from Tony Busby. By the way, do you know who that is?
I've heard the name, yes.
Okay.
Attorney in Houston, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I've heard the name.
Quote, there's plenty of money, and if we don't have it, we'll get it. We've got more money than we've got brains, end quote.
There it is.
I mean, it says everything in every way. It is wildly, maybe one of the best quotes about Aggies that have ever lived. It's so self-aware and not self-aware at the same time. It is, again, you're right, man. It is a slow clap, self-deprecating, but like still kind of bragging at the same time.
It is. And it's also, you got whatever it is, that's a guy that's part of a group that's coming out of that Jimbo circus, man. And there's no way to tell what that's like. Well, it was such a bizarre.
You think he's got some hard feelings and thoughts on like how that whole thing went down?
The line about they're tired of looking at him was the wait, what? What is that? That's unbelievable. All right. Remember, Texas and Georgia kickoff at 6:30 on Saturday, and we are headed to TCH Social Austin. $2 draft, $3 jellyfish. I'm doing a jellyfish. The Fanatic cocktail is great. $12 for those 8 wings. Don't forget about the Bad Beat Bacon, of course, and get piled into the post-game show. Adam Lowy and the Lowy Law Firm will sponsor it. We'll be live at TCH Social. We will also have Anwar in Athens between the hedges. Actually, he'll be above the hedges by the time we talk to him. After Sark talks to the media, we'll get all that done. So everything you need to know right there on the post-game show. Get on out there. Check us out. In case you've never seen the giant screen, that's what it looks like. Texas and Georgia will go in the middle. We'll have all the other games that you'll care about, including Ohio State, Ole Miss, Utah, Washington. They all have big games at that moment, and we'll be watching all of them at the same time. Come see us at TCH Social Austin. I will be eating the same meal that I did for the wins against OU, Kentucky, and Mississippi State. The road meal. That's what I'm doing. That's my part. That's my enchilada part for this thing to try to get it done. All right, so
I love that you're a team player.
Give me we got about 5 minutes till Brian. Give me a comp in your mind for Cam Coleman. I've been trying to figure out sort of who is this guy, 6'3", a guy that I love watching go up in traffic. I feel like you could have 5 guys guarding him. He's still going to catch the ball. Like, in your mind, who do you tell Texas fans he is if they're not watching a lot of Auburn games?
I don't know. He's got like some Drake London in him if you're an NFL fan.
Okay.
He's so gifted as a pass catcher. Like, he's such a natural receiver. I mean, his ability to catch the football, pretty high level.
I love it. Yeah.
That I think you sometimes forget how big he is. He caught a ball last week that, that'll be one that'll be like the first 2 or 3 plays on his draft clip whenever it comes out. But he's explosive, so he's just a total package guy. I don't know that Texas has had a lot of guys quite like him over the years. They've had guys that have shades of him. I know when Drake London came out, I didn't quite get it with him because he didn't quite fit the mold of, he's this type of guy or that type of guy. And then you just felt like you'd watch him and you're like, he's just excellent. Like, I get it. He's big. He's super athletic. He can do just joke of things catching the football. And then, like, it is unconventional. He doesn't look like maybe what I would think a Pro Bowl wide receiver looks like, right? But like, he's kind of his own thing.
Is he a burner at all? Like, does he have like that type of
he's a deep threat. Yeah, he's a guy that I think absolutely scares the crap out of teams. Like, I don't know that Auburn's been able to do a lot of that with him this year because they've not been able to protect their quarterback.
Here's what I'll tell you.
There's a world out there where Cam Coleman is – I'm actually looking it up because, if you were to ask me off the top of my head, what is Cam Coleman averaging per catch this season? I mean, he's only at 13.1, but he's a guy that I think I would think – he was at 16 last year. To me, in the right offense with the right team, he's 19, 20 yards a catch.
Jackson Arnold should be arrested for what he's done to Cam Coleman's career, and so should Hugh Freeze. Against OU in Norman, he had 3 catches for 88 yards, 29 on the average, a touchdown, and a 46-yarder. And you know what they didn't do, Catch? Get him a 4th catch. They didn't do that. Not even a pop. We talked yesterday about Keenan Allen begging for a pop pass. Give me a pop pass. Cam Coleman's like, yo, we are in a close game on the road, and y'all can't find me a 4th catch?
Well, look, and like I said, he's got all the leverage in the world because he can go anywhere. If he wants to go to Ohio, if he just says, I want to go to Ohio State, that's where I wish I'd gone when I was 17. I always said if I could go to Ohio State, I would. And then I didn't. I went to Auburn. It was stupid. I decided to stay. You know what? They could go to Ohio State and go, hey, he wants to be here. How do we make it happen?
Yeah, that would be a wild fit. Here's who I think of when I watch him play catch. I think George Pickens, who was at Georgia, of course, now with the Cowboys. George Pickens' superpower, to me, is throw it to him outside the numbers, and he makes some of the wildest, craziest catches ever. I think Cam Coleman is a twitchier George Pickens. I think he's Pickens.
I don't hate that. I mean,
plus
Cam Coleman.
He's freakier than that.
Look, Cam Coleman is in this wide receiver class from a year ago that includes Ryan Williams and Jeremiah Smith. That does not happen every year. And it's funny because Texas signed a couple of 5-star guys, right? And so it was like, we really thought that what Khalil Lockett and Jamie French were going to do is what we saw these guys do a year ago. It's like, no, you don't understand. Usually you're lucky if one of those guys pops up in any given year. 2 years ago, in 2024, it's a year where literally on any given day, you can convince yourself that one of those three guys is the best of the three. You could have watched Cam Coleman last week and gone, oh no, yeah, I get it. And, you know,
he got 10 balls against Vandy, didn't he?
10 for $143. Like, just stunting on them. And, like, it hasn't been like that every week. 2 weeks before that against Arkansas, it was 2 for 27. Now, one of them was a touchdown, but they have real offensive problems that we all know is related to the quarterback. That Auburn, which would have had all of the money in the world to kind of go out and get whoever they want to. Auburn is not poor. They've got they have a top 10 roster in college football. And I think people forget about how good they can recruit.
And we have also not mentioned the fact that he's an Alabama kid for the people that don't know. He's an Alabama. I glibly said I could have always wanted to go to Ohio State, but I decided to go in state to Auburn. Right, I got you. Okay, so you did mention, yeah.
But
that's important.
It was not so transparent. So to be look, LSU's got 1 million guys on their roster like this. You know, you can go and schools that haven't maybe even made the decisions yet on their coaches. Everybody's preparing for this because what do I keep saying? You want to be the smartest guy in the room if you're Texas on every matter that you work on. A&M, I tell you what, A&M will be insanely dangerous if we ever see a quote from the attorney Tony Busby, where if he ever says we used to be just the richest guy on the block, but now we're the richest and the smartest, then you'd be worried. Because it does take both. And I think on the player side, I would be firing my agents if I was like, hey, during the bye week, hey, what will it look like in January, by the way? And if my agent was like, oh, I don't know, it's only November. I haven't made those calls yet. What? That is the most Jerry Maguire, I have to fire you. Like, it's worse than releasing the memo.
Right. I think it'd be safe to say after the year cycle we just saw with Concepcion and Craver, assume that the Aggies know about Cam Coleman.
Everybody does. Like, that's right? The thing.
I mean,
a quote that I had in Truths and Lies was, you really have to kind of go out of your way to be uninformed because the information will find you.
Yeah.
Everybody behind the scenes will know what's it look like for Cam Coleman. And look, it was the same way when the Texas Tech defensive end from Stanford came out. It was like, how much is Bailey going to cost? It didn't take very long for it was like, it's a couple of mil to get through the door on that. And Texas is like, oh, we're really interested in that kid, but we can't pay that kid more money than we're paying Colin Simmons. So, you know, I guess bye. You know, like and those are part of. It wasn't just, it's one of the reasons why Tech offers a sum like that. Because it's such a poison pill. It is anybody in the country that, you know, is going to match that probably has to break their financial model. And most schools would rather be like, that dude ain't that good to risk that on. As it turned out for Bailey this season, he's probably, you know, I wonder, it's such a copycat league. I wonder if next year schools will make different decisions based on that one example. There's not a ton of examples where it's gone belly up. We just have seen that, and it has really worked for Texas Tech. We will eventually have examples where it's like, oh, remember when they spent $3 million on that guy and then he wrecked his knee in the first game of the season? Like, that will be part of the sample size eventually. But right now, Tech's sample size is really small, and they've come up roses on all of them.
All right, Brian Jones of CBS Sports is ready to go, and Ketch knows exactly where he wants to start. Let's hear from Specs, and then we'll talk to Brian.
When loved ones all gather for gourmet delight, Specs raises spirits all through the night. Thanksgiving is here to bring out the best. Wine pairing is caring and leaves guests impressed. Nothing's off limits, sweatpants or black tie. Just leave enough room for Specs pecan pie. Shop thousands of ways to upgrade your thankful. Specs lower prices keep wallets quite tranquil. So raise a glass and sing your praisings. When you stock up at Specs, it's cheers to savings.
Yep. Don't let Aunt Janine come drunk to your house without having some of your own alcohol. And don't let yourself look less sharp than Brian Jones. Go to University Co-op, go right there to the drag, or go to universitycoop.com and search Real Snow Milk. Get yourself some of that great gear. Might be a good Christmas gift idea for the folks on your list. There he is, rocking a Longhorn like only he can. Brian Jones, how are you?
What up, what up, what up?
What up? Catch, get us going.
I mean,
Get us going, Chad.
I see you wearing that Longhorn shirt, but I heard you pick Georgia to beat Texas. Discuss.
And yeah, I did.
And yes, and
when you have lost to an opponent as much as we have in recent year, twice, should have beaten them in that SEC championship game, and I should have been drafted by the Dallas Cowboys, so that doesn't count.
It's messed up, by the way.
Yeah, it starts morphing into a rivalry. This is a rivalry. I love how Texas is playing. If the secondary is healthy, they have a hell of a chance of knocking off Georgia between the hedges. But Kirby Smart is right. As I said last week, they're hard to kill like roaches. And I just think the way they're playing currently is magnificent. That running game with Frazier, all these receivers, they have a medley of athleticism at tight end and wide receiver, even with Kobe Young getting hurt and being out for the season, the transfer from Miami. So this Texas secondary is going to have his hands full. If the defense can cage Gunnar Stockton as they did Pavia, if they can get to Gunnar Stockton, get him in third and long, they may have a shot at knocking off Georgia in the hedges. They got to play one hell of a football game. They've got to play a complete football game, 4 quarters. And I love offensively what Arch has done the last 2 games. Both of these quarterbacks, 9 touchdown passes, and I think the last 2 or 3 ball games. So offensive line is starting to gel. Great. And while Georgia doesn't have the sacks that they have amassed in past years, they still hold the line. They still do a good job of winning at the line of scrimmage. They tackle well. And so I think Texas will be battling up a steep hill. Are they qualified and equipped to win this game? Yes. I think it's really I give Georgia an edge, but I would not be surprised if Texas won. My heart wants them to win, of course, but Arch should have time to find receivers, and if he continues to play as he has in the past few weeks, pretty mistake-free, it's going to be a hell of a game. But yeah, I'm picking Georgia.
What kind of number do you think this is going to take, Brian? Are you up in the 30s with a prediction, or are you down in the 20s? Or something else?
I think it's going to be I can see it being a game in the 30s. If offense is clicking and you can find a running game as Texas did versus OU, it could be a game that's in the 30s. And we've seen Georgia play those type of games. Ole Miss went in there and lit them up with Trinidad Chambers until they didn't. And they started getting stops. And you saw what Alabama did in the first half, and then Georgia shut them out in the second half. So offenses have been able to eat until they couldn't. Georgia will find its footing. And one thing I've noticed about Georgia under Kirby Smart over the years is you don't get them on the same thing twice, man. They figure stuff out as far as what it is you are scheming, what your concepts are, and they learn immediately. And they don't make the same mistakes. So if everything's clicking early on, you're going to be hard-pressed to see it clicking throughout that ball game, because they are some of the fastest learners, and they adjust as well as anyone in the game.
Do they have a coaching advantage in this game? Like in games, is Kirby Smart the best in college football? Is it insulting to say, yeah, they haven't? I've been asked that a couple of times this week where I'm comparing talent versus talent, and they go, okay, well, now do coaches. And it's like, okay, I don't know how to answer that completely.
I wouldn't say they have an advantage. you guys know Texas let that game get away from them in the championship game last year.
Just
Missed
hit a
field
kick.
goals.
Hit one kick.
Yes, hit a damn kick, make a tackle here, a better throw to Wingo, and it's a touchdown instead of him being dragged down, within inside the 5 or wherever it was, and then you have to settle for a field goal. There were a few plays in that game, and tackle Gunnar Stockton. I know he's new and you haven't seen him, but get better hits on that guy as you did on Carson Beck. I mean, I think there was one ferocious hit on him there in the red zone, but they had their number. I don't think that was coaching. That was just missed opportunities. And the same in this ball game. I think the coaches are on par. Kirby Smart made his hay as a defensive coordinator. And yes, he had the Jimmies and the Joes to go along with those X's and O's. Sark the same. I think he's one of the best play callers in the game. You have to execute, and you're not going to have many opportunities. This game reminds me of Tuscaloosa a few years ago, 2023, I believe it was, when they went in there and they got a big dub. They were confident. They ran the ball when they needed to run the ball. They made the explosive plays. They're going to have to do that in this ball game. And just know it's going to be a hell of a hitting ball game. This will be a violent football game. That's what Kirby Smart teaches. And Sark knows that. He's been in that system at Alabama, and he's brought that to Texas, so they understand that. And that's what they did versus Vandy. They were kicking Vandy's ass. Next thing you know, you look up, and it's 31-24. Like, what is going on? Of course, you had the injuries on the back end, but they're going to have to overcome everything that they've overcome in these previous games, whether it was Kentucky or Mississippi State. I don't see them blowing out Georgia. And to answer your question, no, I don't give Kirby or Glenn Schumann a huge edge in the coaching department.
Brian, talking about Georgia, that whole hard to kill thing, it sounds really cool to say it, especially when you win, but it also tells you they're not playing complete fourth quarters. They're not. At the end of 3 quarters, they trailed Tennessee, Bama, and Ole Miss. They're not scoring first in a lot of these games. Kirby actually said this week, yeah, we're prepared to just give up that first one, and then we learn, like you said. He literally said that. How important do you think it is for Texas to do what Bama did to them? Get an early lead, preferably a multi-score lead, make Kirby chase you.
It's very important. You got to get out of the gate quickly and fast, and it has to be productive. And don't settle for field goals. Same thing I used to say about Bama back in the day. Don't settle for field goals.
You're going to flip Chad out, Brian, with that. Don't take field goal talk.
Not in this game, Chad. These type of games, you got to score 6, man, to beat these unless if the defense is going to come out and be super dominant. Yeah, go ahead and rub your brow, all that. Well, I got a 6 head now.
Let me just make sure we're clear, Brian. If there's 13 minutes to go in this ball game and Sark can tie it up, what should he do with a field goal? What should he do?
Okay, tie it up in those situations. Yes. Okay.
That's all I'm saying. Kirby went
in that
crazy.
situation, but you got to score touchdowns, man.
Overall,
have to score 6. Okay, then we're in agreement. See, Cat, he agrees with me.
Okay.
You saw him
rubbing his forehead.
He rubbing it, bro.
He rubbing it like.
Hey, look, I agree. This is not some kind of Morton Anderson 15-13 game. I get that. You got to go. You got to score touchdowns. I agree.
Brian, I have
take the points when you can get the points. Take the points. Yes, I'm in agreement with you. With you there, but. Overall, and I've said this forever, going back to Bama when they were running everything, you're not going to beat them kicking field goal unless you just got one hell of a defense.
Yeah, that's true.
Brian, either I'm going to have to bail out of this in a little bit or we all are just going to go for like 5 minutes without me. So I have to sneak this in.
Come on.
You said you were robbed by not being drafted by the Dallas Cowboys. I was like, Brian came out after 90, so he was in the 91 draft, right? So I was like, that's a pretty famous Cowboys draft. That's Russell Maryland, it's Alvin Harper, it's Dixon Edwards, it's Eric Williams, it's Larry Brown, it's Leon Lett. Like they did well in that. Yeah. But you know what?
3 of those guys are my homies.
They took a guy in the 5th round that turned out to actually be a really good NFL player, not like a starter, but this dude's earning his pension. But he only stayed 1 year in Dallas, and then he went to Tampa, and then he bounced around a little bit. And had they not drafted Derek Brownlow in the 5th round of the 91 draft, they could have drafted that guy.
Number 6.
He'd be sitting here with 3 rings on his finger. They would have had their built-in replacement for Robert Jones in-house.
I would have been reunited with Ken Norton Jr., James Washington, the late Frank Cornish, Troy Aikman, all my UCLA teammates.
It should have happened. And if I could go hot tub time machine, I would grab Jimmy and go, Jimmy, in the 5th, stay with linebacker. Trust me.
If I could go hot tub time machine, I'd be grabbing something else.
Fair enough.
I got a few memories in that hot tub, baby.
Brian would organize a couple extra recruiting visits if he had a little hot tub time.
We had a little White House in the hot tub.
Yeah. Catch, I know you got to roll, man. Take care. And
yes.
we'll
I'll see you next week.
Okay, buddy.
Later, guys.
Catch has an appointment that he's got to get to, so he is going to jump out. Brian Jones of CBS Sports hanging out a little bit with us. Texas and Georgia. Man, Brian, I'm so excited about this game. I do think, and I'm ultimately, I think I'm where you are. I am leaning Georgia on the pick, but I absolutely think it's there for Texas to get. I really do. I mean, again, Georgia hadn't been perfect. There's a formula out there to get it done. We just need to see if this Texas team can put it all together. Great news last night on the injury report, Brian. I didn't even know there was a none to report option. I like that one. None to report. Thank you. Very proper. Which means Taft's ready to go, which means McDonald's ready to go, which means Wingo is ready to go. And this offensive line found a little something in the last couple weeks. It's doable, bro. I'm with you. I'm up at like a 31-28 kind of ball game. I think winner gets 30. But I think it's 30-something, 20-something. And I'm at home. I think I'd pick Texas and Austin. I really do. There's just something about that whole, you know what that place is like, man. You've seen games there over and over and over again, covering for CBS. Stuff happens between the hedges, and it usually happens for the team wearing black and red. And I just can't get away from all that stuff I've seen. So I'm going, barely Georgia, but man, I'm with you. I hope I'm wrong. I want the Longhorns to keep this thing rolling.
No doubt. And everything all the points you just made are spot on, man, about this football team. I just look at all those weapons, and Georgia is leaning more so on its offense than it has in past years, because that defense, once again, they're not amassing the sacks and TFLs as much as they have done in the past. They still got some dogs over there, man. They're going to still punch you in the mouth, and they're going to rotate a lot of people. But if Arch can have time, and he can find his guys as well. Texas has more than enough weapons, and I think it could turn into a shootout. And all these tight ends Georgia has, the lucky kid. They got a big old, Eliza Johnson, Williams or something. He's 6'7", freshman, I think. 6'7", about 267. Big old boy. Reminds me of that Washington kid they had a few years ago.
The one that took the Steelers?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So they got him, Lucky and depth.
Aaron Rodgers throwing to that cat. They say he's over $3 billion right now, Brian.
Wow.
He's a 300-pound tight end in the NFL.
It's the second coming of Eric Green. Remember Green?
Yes.
Big old Eric Green.
Yeah.
Well, he's gonna have to lose some weight. You're not gonna live in that league weighing that much. He's gonna eat himself into a tackle position.
Yeah.
He might get to play a little bit longer and get some long money playing that position. So maybe that's his end goal there. But they've got that. They've got these receivers, man. The Thomas kid who was at A&M, I believe.
Right.
Noah Thomas kid. Number 5. You got Branch that came from SC, who's a burner. They got so many guys that can just ball out, man. I was watching that Mississippi State. Your point, they get behind the 8 ball early, then they claw their way back. They didn't last week. I think Mississippi State may have scored first. They scored first, and then that was it.
Yeah, that's the most complete Bulldog team I've seen this year, where they let Mississippi State scores early, and then the Dogs got to stomping fast.
Yeah. That was it.
That was quick after that. Let's grab a couple super chats here. Brian, earlier we were talking about Cam Coleman and where he may end up in case he's in the portal coming out of Auburn. $5. Didn't Coleman play with KJ Lacey in high school? Oh, it might be a good call, Drew. I'd forgotten that connection. But Brian, if you're Cam Coleman, I mean, you're going to have your choice, really, assuming he doesn't, whatever Auburn's going to do, if Auburn can't keep him. We were discussing it earlier, and Ketch is hearing from sources that Texas and pretty much any team that matters, they know, and that the representatives are already having, conversations. How good, I'm trying to think. How do I ask this question?
I know where you're going. He's elite.
Yeah. Is there anybody in the portal at wide receiver that you think's going to be above him on a list?
I don't know who's in there right now. I haven't been tracking it, but I know this. That young man is elite, and that talent has been wasted there in Auburn the last couple of years because they have not had a signal caller that can get him the ball consistently. Here's one of those guys that can high point the ball. He's athletic. He can contort his body. He can do everything you want at the wide receiver position. And when he gets – if he ends up staying there or going elsewhere, they're going to look at those first 2 years and they're like, he didn't do anything. You look at the stats. But then when they get a hold of him and get him to doing all the things on the field that these NFL scouts want to see, they're like, this dude might be the best available because he's a damn good wide receiver. We just haven't been able to witness all his abilities and capabilities because they've had no quarterback.
Yeah, it was Brian. I said this earlier. I'm going to say it again. At OU, you remember that game, how close and crazy that game was? Cam had 3 catches for 88, a 29-yard average, a 46-yard long catch, and a touchdown.
Yeah. And
Jackson Arnold could not figure out how to get him one more catch.
And he missed him on a couple. What? Yeah, agreed. He can high post you up, and then just throw it up. It ain't a 50-50 ball. It's an 80-20 ball. It's similar to Jeremiah Smith. He's going to get the ball.
Brian,
he's that athletic.
I thought about you as much as you love this game this week. Did you hear the story about Keenan Allen and that Chargers record that he got? They need
most yards, right?
Yeah, they needed to get him it was like a yardage record or total catches. It was an Antonio Gates record.
Right.
Did you hear what he told the quarterback and the coach to do?
You told him which play to call, right? And then he said, why didn't we think of that?
No, yeah, that's right. They're freaking out about it. And he goes, fellas, throw me the little pop pass. I'll run right by Justin. And then Harbaugh and Herbert looked at each other like, well, God, we're stupid. And that's what I think of with Cam Coleman. You couldn't find Jackson Arnold can throw that, right? I could do that.
I don't know. Don't give him that much credit.
Maybe not. Maybe not me. I think Jackson.
No. Don't give Jackson Arnold that much credit. Okay. I got more faith in you than Jackson Arnold.
Man, I could not believe that number when I saw it today. One other one from Justin back to the Texas-Georgia game says, I find it funny. Texas has a better win since conference play started than Ohio State, Georgia, Oregon, and little brother Aggies. Texas will beat Georgia by 10. Come on, Justin.
I hope Justin is correct from your lips to God's ears, from this chat to God's ears or eyes. Yeah. I'm with you. Everyone's dogging your Aggies, man, because you look at the record of the teams they played, and it's no fault of theirs. 13-34. That's the overall record of the teams they faced. A lot of them have
28%, Brian. It's 28%.
Yeah.
Exactly. Let me tell you, hey, and because of that, Brian, I've been looking at tiebreakers. If the Aggies lose to the Longhorns, they're going to have a tough time getting to Atlanta. They're going to have a really tough time getting to Atlanta because the tiebreakers are going to come after them at that point. The Aggies really need to win out in conference if they're going to Atlanta.
I would agree, but here is my pushback. They can only play who's on that schedule. And a lot of people – a lot of the experts said they would be 7-5, 8-4 at best this football season. And here they are undefeated. So they've gone out and taken care of their business. The hell with us and what we thought. And the record is what it is, but you have to suit up and take on whoever's on that record. It's not your fault LSU's in disarray. It's not your fault these other schools have fired their coach. You went out and you took care of your business. That's all you can control. And this week, South Carolina, at times they step up and they ball. They kicked you behind last year there in Columbus, right?
And they put up a fight. Remember the fight they put up against Bama this year?
Right. Should have beaten Bama last year. Should have beaten them this year. So Lenore Seller and those guys are going to come in and want to upend your season. But I get it, and I understand that's the record. But you still have to give credit to the football team, to the guys that put the work in and went out there and took care of business. They won the games they should have won. And kudos to them for doing that. I understand all the strength of schedule. And yes, Texas sitting there with 2 wins over top 10 teams, Oklahoma at the time, and Vandy. I'm still mystified as to why Notre Dame is ahead of them. I understand why. You can't lose in the swamp to a bad Florida team. And Notre Dame has a cachet as big as Texas. And that's why they're getting the benefit of the doubt.
And they went stomping after the Aggies beat them. They
beat one ranked team, SC.
No. In terms of quality, you're right. But I'm saying they are winning convincingly in all these games. It's 10 or more in every game. And USC is the only 10-point.
Yeah. I agree. And everyone's upset this team might get to the championship game or to the playoff, and they didn't play this. Well, they didn't make the schedule. They didn't say, hey, put this team on my schedule. They just went out and played the schedule they were handed, and they kicked ass. That's what you want.
So, Brian, I'll admit what I'm about to say to you has some little brother bias in it. Just know that going in. It may be that way. But I watch every play of every A&M game. And I also just rewatched Indiana Penn State. I need you to explain.
I just watched it.
I need you to explain to me how those two teams didn't flip for 1 week. They're on the same side of the bracket in a 12-team bracket. It really doesn't matter who's 2 and who's 3. But one team goes on the road and plays an unranked team that has fallen apart and fired their coach. They still haven't won a conference game. Brian, they were up 13. Indiana was up 13, 2 full touchdowns with 7.5 to go in the third quarter, and they puked on their shoes. They lost the entire lead, and they needed an all-time drive and one of the greatest catches I've ever seen to win that game barely. The Aggies, on the other hand, go to Missouri, a ranked team. I understand it's the third quarterback, but they made Missouri look like they were playing their third-string quarterback. They got up by 21.
Gonzalez is the second quarterback. What do you think?
Third. No, Sam Horn got hurt too. Sam Horn
didn't do nothing. It was Pabula's team. But
it was Pabula's team, but Sam Horn by the beginning of the year. I'm saying this is the third from the beginning of the year. This would be the third guy they wanted to play. Okay. So by the end of that game, they sustain a 21-point lead. They win by 21 points. And I'm still hearing about how, Indiana and Ohio State's defense is better. Which Indiana defense is that? The one that gave up 2 scores to Penn State in the blink of an eye when the supposed Heisman quarterback threw a pick? And that guy goes down, Brian, and gets that catch made for him. And what's the storyline? He had his Heisman moment. Oh, did you see he had his Heisman moment?
Dude, did you see all those guys in his chest when he threw that ball?
Are you telling me that if Texas or Georgia or Ole Miss was in exactly the same situation as the Aggies, they wouldn't have gotten credit and been flipped in the rankings? I'm just asking for a little brother friend of mine, okay?
Indiana, listen. This just in, Indiana has more cachet than your Aggies. How about that? Obviously, they do. And
I think that might be the most painful part of it all. I think what you just said, that may be the most painful part. Let me pull that knife. Hang on.
Losing his program in college football has more cachet than your Aggies, man. And it stems from last year. It stems from a close call at Iowa on the road. They won 20-15. They go to Oregon. They beat a team that's top 3 at the time.
That was a nice win.
That helps.
It's a nice win. I'm not making fun of them for either one of those. Yeah. I'm saying this week you had them that close. They're both undefeated. They're right there in the ranking. I'm saying for 1 week you couldn't have. All right. I don't know.
Hey, don't die on that hill. Just keep winning. That's
I know. Right.
For your Aggies.
Just got to keep going. Let's see. This week, the big-time CBS game, Brian. Oh, speaking of Penn State, little Penn State, Michigan State. I wish that one was a lot better for you guys at 2:30. Could y'all not put a bid in on Iowa USC and get it flipped? How does that work?
I wish we could have gone out to LA, man. We didn't have the position to take that game, and we took this one. There's a chance we get USC at Oregon if SC wins. I think there's a chance we can get that game, but it's above my pay grade. So I just say, okay, this is who we got. Great. I was happy we got Oregon at Iowa last week. What a hell of a game that was.
Man, that was awesome.
This ball game, Penn State, you rewatched it. I just watched the game tape, and I'm sitting there watching. Where the hell was that effort the last few weeks. That's the team that showed up and took Oregon to overtime. And his quarterback, Grunkenmeyer, he's gotten better and better each week. You look at his stats, yards per attempt, completion percentage, everything has increased in the proper direction. He looks more comfortable. That's the best I've seen their passing offense all season. I mean, this dude is he puts Drew Aller to shame. I just love what I saw from him. He got everyone involved. They had a season high and tied their season high in sacks, which they've done a couple of times this year, 3 sacks, and they hit Mendoza, but Mendoza utilized his legs and was able to engineer that last drive, which was phenomenal because he got sacked on the first play. 93 seconds on the clock. First play, he gets sacked, and then they take it down the field, and guys we haven't even heard of were making catches because Surratt's out, and then Omar Cooper Jr. comes up with that big one. But Penn State – go ahead.
That tight end on the sideline catch.
Oh, Charlie! No, that was Charlie Becker, the receiver who was in for
Becker,
Surratt.
Right. Oh,
and he made a couple of good catches. Yeah,
that was an incredible drive. And I certainly don't want to belittle the drive they put together because they did get that done, and that's one of the best catches I've ever seen at the end. To get that for that left foot, everybody keeps saying, and I think Booger McFarland and the rest of the country have got it wrong. Everybody that's saying that's good in the NFL, that right foot never hit. Ever. The left foot, though, hits before that right one grazed the grass. It was beautiful. Yeah. So beautiful. God, it was a good catch.
Good stuff.
Yeah, they're fun. I dig that. That Indiana team is for real. I don't know if they're real enough to beat. I don't know if they're real enough to beat Ohio State. I don't know if they're real enough to win a natty, but dadgummit, Brian, you got to beat Indiana. You got to finish that game.
Yeah, you got to take it from them. They're not going to give it to you. They're a physical bunch. And the knock on Ohio State, I thought Indiana should have jumped Ohio State. State, other than Texas game, they haven't been tested. They have not been crash tested. I want to see Julian Sand get in one of those moments where, he's got to pull the fat from the fire, man.
Yeah. And they don't have – who's Ohio State? Oh, UCLA, right?
UCLA this week. And
maybe a little bit of a push?
We'll see. I doubt it. Well, UCLA's playing better. But I forget who they have next week. And then they have they have Rutgers. We might have that game, Ohio State and Rutgers. And then, of course, you've got Michigan.
Yeah, and Brian, I keep pointing this out. When we get to the last week of the season, everybody up at the top of the rankings has to go on the road for their rival game. All of them do. Ohio State's at Michigan. A&M goes to Austin. Bama goes to Auburn. Oregon goes to Washington. Texas Tech has a weird, it's not a rival game, but they go to West Virginia to end the year. There's just all these strange games at the end that are going to tell us a ton. Georgia at the Falcon Stadium against Georgia Tech, but still not at home. And Ole Miss at Starkville, at Starkville, in a game, Brian, that gets wacky. Yeah. That may be the wackiest rival game of all. The game literally turned on a guy peeing on the field. Come on.
Come on.
a man pretended to pee on the field, and that literally turned the game.
Dummy.
The result.
Yeah. How stupid was that? But what isn't stupid are these Red Raiders, man. That defense they're playing, Jacob Rodriguez is tremendous, having a hell of a season. He's in that E.J. Hollup and Zach Thomas club as far as linebackers are concerned, and they just shut down the Bear and BYU.
Brian, think about this. At the age we are right now, this is Twilight Zone. Did you ever think you'd live long enough to be able to say, man, that Texas Tech defense and that run defense is badass. If they just had a little more offense, they might win it all.
Yeah. Ruffin McNeil had a pretty good defense there under Leach, but it wasn't like this defense. Oh, my goodness. These guys are ferocious.
Yeah, they put BYU in an absolute sleeper hold. That was it could have been so much worse. If they finish their offensive stuff and don't drop balls and don't kick field goals, what's the final, Brian? 52-7?
That's right. Kudos to BYU holding them to field goals. 4 or 5 field goals in that ball game.
Yeah, otherwise they would have really stomped them in that game. All right, again, the 2:30 is Penn State, Michigan State for CBS. Check out Brian on CBS Sports. We talk to him each and every week because he's so nice to do it, and he does look nice in these clothes. Go to the Co-op down there on the drag, or just go to universitycoop.com and search Real Snow Milk. That that sweatshirt on the left, the hoodie on the left might be good with the weather getting a little colder. Just saying.
It was good the other day. You ain't lying.
Did you? Yeah, right. Helps out. Helps out.
It was a little chilly.
All right, Brian Jones, always good to see you, sir. We will we'll talk to you next week. Arkansas week next week. Let's hope it's still Texas rolling. Let's hope it's an 8-2 Texas, and you and I get to say we were wrong.
I'm hoping and praying that I get to say I was wrong. Come on. Whip
Yes.
their ass. Whip that Georgia Bulldog ass.
That's
Hook 'em.
it. There it is. Brian Jones, gonna get you to hook 'em. Gonna get you some CBS Sports this week. Can't wait to check out all the action. I'll be honest, I don't know that I can't wait to check out Penn State, Michigan State, but I like the swap that he's talking about. Maybe they get that USC-Oregon game a little bit later on. Let me get you a quick reminder before we close up. We're headed out to the Deep Eddy Vodka Tasting Room, less than 2 weeks away. Friday the 21st, right before the Arkansas game, live show at 12, Q&A until 3. Man, do I hope this is an 8-2 Texas team that we're getting to talk about, and they're building towards the Arkansas game and what's going to happen in the game on Black Friday. Let's see if the Longhorns can get it done. But either way, we're going to be out there. Come on out for some tasting. They may still have some of that espresso left. Let me flash that up to remind you. They've got Deep Eddy espresso vodka. It's a limited time deal. This is not available everywhere. It's only in the tasting room. So if you're out there in the Dripping Springs area, drop on by and grab yourself, and maybe those on your Christmas gift list, get them some of those bottles. I'm hearing they're going pretty quickly, and you may want to get out there and grab yourself some Deep Eddy espresso vodka. Thank you guys for jumping in. Let me just scan the super chats here. Yeah, we got that one. Here's South. Before we get out of here, South KMX. How dare BJ throw up Hook'em while picking Georgia to win? SMH. South KMX. Head and heart, man. Head and heart. The idea of picking the game is, what do you think is going to happen? Not necessarily what you want to happen. Plus, just for you Texas fans, I'm going back to the well of distrusting parent. When I did the distrusting parent and picked OU, what happened? When I did distrusting parent and picked Vandy, what happened? I'm going distrusting parent again, and I'm picking Georgia. Doing what I can, Texas fans. And I'm going to eat the same stuff at TCH Social Austin that I ate for the OU game. Doing what I can for you. Doing what I can for you. I want to see this Texas thing keep going at 8-2. See if we can set ourselves up for a house-divided game that nobody has ever seen. It was pointed out this week that never, ever, ever, ever in Austin have the Longhorns and Aggies gotten together for a top 10 matchup. The best matchups the two have had, weirdly enough, have occurred a couple times in College Station, and they're way back in the day. We always talk about how they can't be good together. Well, you got to go way back. It's College Station. But in Austin, it's never been – we could be headed towards the highest ranked matchup in the history of the rivalry if Texas handles their business in Athens. Hopefully they will. We'll be back tomorrow for a Friday show. It will include the Scottish guy before Georgia. We'll get last-minute breakdowns. We got another injury report coming tonight and all that good stuff as well. Thank you guys for liking, subscribing, and getting the notifications. Up over 181,000 subscribers. We appreciate you for that. And if you want to get signed up with orangebloods.com, we would really appreciate that too. Go to the upper left, get that QR code clicked, and go get all the information, including what Ketch was hearing about Cam Coleman, the war room that's coming up tonight on a Thursday night, and all the rest. We got a lot going on this week. Texas, Georgia. It's coming up Saturday evening at 6:30. Remember to come watch with us at TCH Social Austin. Shout out to Texas Card House that sponsors the show each and every day here at 12. Y'all take care, and we will talk to you tomorrow. It's Orange Bloods Live. See you.